Greetings. This is Payne with the NESA Center. Today I'm providing a second quick brief for our larger audience in the public and for our alumni throughout the world. These quick briefs center on the maritime domain, and the topic for today is maritime domain awareness. Before we can talk about the importance of maritime domain awareness, it's important to understand what it is, what MDA actually means. The U.S. Navy defines maritime domain awareness as the effective understanding of anything associated with the maritime domain that it could impact the security, safety, economy, or environment of the United States. Now that's a very generalized understanding. It sort of implies that it's all things, but that's the key point. For any literal country, for any country that borders the sea, the global commons, the waterways of Earth, in essence, define how your country will operate. Because you're located on a sea or an ocean, that means that you will be a trading country. That means a lot of what your gross domestic product is based off of will be determined by the sea. So you have to have a comprehensive understanding of how the sea impacts your daily life, how it impacts politics, how it shapes the economy, how it shapes your culture, how it defines how you interact with your neighbors and other parties, whether they be corporate or private enterprises, whether they be visitors coming for tourism, or whether it be international organizations that are charged with various institutional responsibilities around the world. MDA also has security dimensions. These security dimensions mean how to protect one's coastline from illicit trafficking, how to monitor coastal trade, fisheries, environmental systems, ecological resources, so as to not allow your natural resource wealth or your ocean wealth, your sea wealth, to be undermined. So this encapsulates Coast Guard, your Navy, as well as other maritime-based law enforcement organizations. MDA as a concept requires information sharing. It doesn't work without it. You cannot silo maritime domain awareness. It means you have to share within your government. Coast Guard has to communicate with the Navy. The Navy has to communicate with the Department of Commerce. Coast Guard may have to interact with local police departments. They may have to interact with other administrative functions of the state, so that everyone has a clear understanding of how your country is interacting with the water. It also means cooperating with your relevant partners internationally, whether they be a neighboring state, a non-regional state, or an international organization or private enterprise that is not based in your specific country. And this cooperative relationship that MDA is based off of is about information sharing. It's about sharing best practices. It's about drawing attention to threats that exist. It's about thinking about the future and things that are on the horizon. For instance, how climate change will impact your coastline and what you can learn from other countries that have experienced changes in climate or specific impacts brought about by climate change that you could expect on the horizon. The goal of MDA is to create a system that better manages the increasing complexity of the maritime domain and advancing the nature of technological tools that can be used to help govern the global commons and your specific territorial waters. If we look at the specific region that the NESA Center is focused on, and that is the Indian Ocean region, there are some questions that have to be asked. The Indian Ocean region itself is massive. It covers a huge part of the globe. It includes several important subregions, all of which are going through pretty dramatic economic, as well as sociological shifts right now. This includes the wider Middle East, South Asia, Southeast Asia, as well as the Eastern African coastline. There are some future major economic actors that are emerging in this region. There are established powerhouses. There are countries that are hoping to move their way up the developmental ladder, so to speak. And a lot of this wealth, a lot of these activities, a lot of the goals that countries have in the Indian Ocean region are in some way, shape, or form defined by the relationship with the water. So, for those countries along the Indian Ocean region, and this is a question for you, the audience, whether you be alumni of NESA or not, what are some of the key challenges in the littoral zones of Iowa states? What should be the focal point? No state can answer or address all the challenges that emerge out of the maritime domain. You have to prioritize. So what should that priority be? And the second issue is that in terms of methodologies, the maritime domain is incredibly complicated. It does not matter how big of an actor you are, how powerful you are, how many naval vessels you have, how much manpower you have focused on the maritime domain. No actor can handle the sheer complexity of the oceans alone. Cooperation is not only the best methodology, it is the only methodology that has been proven effective in our modern history. So, if we are going to cooperate in order to address challenges, what are the forms for maritime cooperation in the Indian Ocean region? Is it state to state? Is it sub-regional? Should we look at all of the Indian Ocean region and try to connect it together? Should we focus on a specific issue, like illegal fishing, illegal dumping, transnational crime? What should be the focal point for cooperation? Those are the two questions that come from this idea of MDA. So I hope that you learned a little bit today about what maritime domain awareness is, and you're starting to think about how it impacts the Indian Ocean region. As ever, you can always reach out to us with your responses. We actively encourage you to do so. So if you want to contact NESA, here's how you do it. Our homepage is listed here. You just go to nesa-center.org. You can find ways to communicate with us by email. If you want to just send an email with your responses to this video, you can send it to nesalumni@ndu.edu. You can get to us at Twitter. We're just at the NESA Center. That's our Twitter handle. Facebook. If you're on Facebook, you can look us up there. You can also even drop comments to this actual video on YouTube. We actively encourage you to reach out to us so we can have a conversation, especially in the midst of our current period, which is the COVID-19 pandemic era. Digital communication is the way that we have to remain an interconnected world. So I look forward to your responses, and I look forward to possible answers to the question I put up today. I hope you all are doing well, and I hope you look forward to future quick briefs that will be coming in the future. Thank you so much.